Dreams of a twisted mind found paradise in hell. Stories only he could tell. Children of a broken dream followed his unholy scheme. Promised lands through bloody hands, swept beneath the devil's plan. Manson shadows on the wall, creeping closer to the fall. Twisted preacher in the night, spreading chaos with delight. Desert nights and eerie chants, serpent's eyes in a devil's glance. Heaven's shattered by his word, preaching madness so absurd. Hope crushed in wicked fire, lost souls swayed by desire. In the dark they found their king, caught in webs his lies would bring. Children's laughter turns to cries, echoes of the night's disguise. Promises of pain and chains left them wandering insane.
Right. Hello there, yeah. Jeremy's on his way. He's just getting coffee, apparently. Yeah, but the amount of blood that dripped by the porch and that's all right indicative of it coming from bleeding wounds of people that were still alive and upright when they were stabbed and all that, isn't it? It's not all, but the drips on the trunks, it identified that as possibly being when they moved Sebring back in. But it doesn't prove if he was alive or dead or anything like that. It just proves that it was, yeah, they moved him over those trunks and they moved him in. God, this Substack article might take a bit longer than tomorrow to come out as well, because, yeah, I've got to rewrite it. Because the original stream was only supposed to be the second slideshow, but then I had to do this whole thing, convincing people that you can trust the blood evidence to some extent. The kicking around of the evidence and all that doesn't mean that they fucked up the blood typing evidence. Yeah, the same as everyone else's, yeah, that he was dead, he was killed on the porch. But yeah, no, Shrek's got an entirely different story, and I wasn't going to. But now that the ChatGPT has said that about the liver temperatures actually being too much to ignore, we could talk about it. Yeah, but he says that bloody Sebring and Sharon were killed first, and the Manson family left and went back and killed Folger and Frykowski later, left them tied up or something like that. So there was a big gap before Folger and Frykowski were killed. And Manson told practically every author that spoke to him. He told Neil Lemons, he told Nicholas Shrek, he told Ed Sanders that he went back there as well. Yeah, that's it. Well, that's not testimony as well, though. That wasn't heard in court, but I found a newspaper article, didn't I, saying where the press interviewed a family that lived... they said in the article they could have seen them cutting the telegraph poles from the telephone pole from their window, so they live that close to the house. And they said that vehicles left at 2 a.m. 2 vehicles drove out at 2 a.m. And the Manson family aren't even supposed to have driven their vehicle up to the house, are they? They're supposed to have parked their vehicle down the road and walked up like ninjas in the dark, aren't they, and all that? But that suggests they'd actually driven in and drove out. Oh, it's Jeremy. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the neighbor said cars were going and coming through the night, and
Yeah.
they heard screaming and arguing around 4 a.m. Well, the killers.
Someone fired a gunshot as well. The guy up writing letters, another dude up writing letters.
Yeah.
Said that he heard raised voices and then a gunshot, as if people were shouting and someone fired a gun into the air to shut everyone up or something like that. Yeah, it's like, what the hell? That was in the early hours. Yeah.
It had to have been the cleanup party, the repositioning party, because the killers supposedly left at midnight, or 1 by 1. The killing started at midnight. They supposedly left by 1. So if they're hearing all this arguing and gunshots and cars leaving and going in and out, Mama Cash showing up at 4 or 5, all this stuff going on, it's supposed to be a party.
The Manson file says John Phillips was seen jumping back over the fence as well, so he didn't have to touch the gate button. So John Phillips went up there. Whether Cass told him, did Cass run straight to John Phillips' house and say, "Oh my God, they're all dead"?
So you're going to tell me that pedophile motherfucker, John Phillip, all hopped up on drugs, knew not to hit that button, but the cop didn't know not to hit it?
No, that's it. Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
The 2 BAPs. Who are the BAPs? What's that stand for?
BAPs. Is that the 411? Well, it's weird, isn't it? There's a guy who was parked at an intersection reports it, and the dude says that's bad because we just had a woman screaming report in that area. That's what it says in the sound report. So it's a cop that said he heard it, but it's when someone else reports that he heard something.
Oily, despite what you hear, that's not true. Anytime we hear gunshots here, it obviously stands out as gunshots. It is something to be taken seriously at any time. It's not like we're over here killing each other willy-nilly. And especially in California, in Bel Air at this time, you never heard shit like that.
No,
Part of what makes this thing so sensationalized is the fact that it happened in an area where these types of things never happened. Like, they left their doors unlocked.
Yeah. Because people say it was LA. Gunshots wouldn't have been unusual, but it's like it's not. It's not. It is in Bel Air. It is. This is like the posh bit, isn't it, of LA? That area, isn't it? It's not like downtown LA where everyone's hearing gunshots going off the whole time. And
even downtown LA is not that bad. The cities in America that are really bad like that, you'll hear gunshots in St. Louis sometimes, but really your stuff's going to get broken into, or you're just going to get robbed. There, Detroit, Baltimore, Washington D.C. Those are bad cities. Philadelphia, but I mean New York City's not bad. LA's not bad, despite what you hear, what you see in the movies. That's all like propaganda and media. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, but that's what we're talking about there. It's not that bad over here, and that's what makes this thing such a big deal. Is that it never happens in that area. Yep, we just got a call of a woman screaming in the area and gunshots. They thought it was firecrackers, maybe. Oh, the sound in the hills just gets so twisted. Hopefully everybody's okay. And they didn't really even investigate it because there's usually not that much going on.
Garrison, he thought the gunshots he heard were firecrackers, didn't he, as well?
Yep.
Yeah. But also, I found something else because someone else said in a comment, it's ridiculous to say Garrison saw anything from the guest house because if you look at where the guest house was, and I might be able to get it up on screen now, but CLODrive.com have just published this short that shows you how far away the guest house is from the main house.
Yeah, there's a walkway in between.
Yeah, and I found on CLODrive.com there's pictures of the view from the walkway. And this shows you the only way he could have seen the lawn was to have been on that walkway. So he must have left the house if he did see anything.
Canal Bridge, yeah. All of Ohio is pretty bad.
It's showing the sound of a helicopter in it as if it's taken by a helicopter. There you go. But can you see that? Oh, no, it's not on the bloody screen. Oh, yes, it is. It is. But can you see how far away the guest house is?
And then you also
have
no
way Garrison was seeing anything from the actual
You also have the pool and the back porch area in between there in the main house as well. So, I mean, and it does twist. You see that little pathway that goes in between.
Yeah. So it is actually quite plausible. Quite plausible that he didn't hear things. Yeah.
Well, it's plausible that he didn't see anything. I mean, he probably heard something, but was it any more unusual than what was usually going on there? I mean, they had the doiling just a few weeks before, right?
Yeah, and well, he was used to them having parties, wasn't he? And he said the woman, when he heard the woman screaming, he thought someone was going to get thrown in the pool or something. Yeah, yeah.
They had the doiling a few weeks ago where they tied the dude up and buggered him in front of everybody on camera and whipped him and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, he's used to that. He's used to violence and sexual depravity.
Yeah, the cots. These are the ones that the cots, the maid knocked on their door first and they didn't open the door to her. She had to run to the next house as well, yeah. And they were the ones that were having a party as well that night. Yeah, yeah.
They wanted nothing to do with what was going on at that house over there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. A lot of people don't realise how far away the guest house was. A lot of people thought it was above the garage. You know, the building out in the paved parking area. They thought that was the guest house. It's not. The guest house is way back. There was
actually an apartment above the garage, though, too, which is why they thought that it was almost like some kind of servants' quarters things that nobody used. Sharon and Roman were using it for storage. So
no, Roman was going to use it as an office, and one of the dudes that lived there before said he used it as a painting studio, didn't he? The guy that made that Hell's Angels 69 movie, he said he did paintings up there. And you can see his artwork hung on the walls in Cielo Drive in the pictures, weirdly enough. I found a podcast with him on. He was married to Samantha Egger. She had kids there. They raised their babies there for a little while, apparently. Well, they lived there, yeah. It's crazy. The history of that house. Yeah.
So Sam says, by the laws of audio physics, the gunshots would have been 4 times as loud at the Cott's house is what he meant. So it sounded like the gunshots were happening in their front yard.
Yeah, and the guest house is slightly higher up as well. It's like it's raised up, so it is possible the sound didn't carry up to him and that. Yeah.
Or it would have been muffled enough to where he could mistake it for firecrackers if he was listening to, the mamas and the papas in the doors, as he claims, right?
I wonder if it was the Cots then, if they just, because they didn't say the people's name, but that newspaper article that said they had 2 cars leaving at 2 a.m. I wonder if that was the Cots and they just weren't named. Yeah. No, he's saying they didn't testify. I don't remember seeing that name, but I haven't examined everything that thoroughly, but I don't remember seeing that name and testified. Yeah, but I wonder if it was the Cots who said that in that newspaper article then. And they said they were always bringing trunks to their house and things, that were delivered wrongly and they had to send it up to the right house. They were always getting their deliveries. They were getting movie scripts all the time and crates of booze and all this,
Yeah, that would get tiring pretty quick. It's like if I got to keep bringing this stuff over to your house, if I got to keep bringing this stuff over, you're going to have to start giving me a percentage. Delivery fee.
Yeah, that was what I said. She did. The Cots didn't open the door to her when she knocked on their door. Yeah.
They wanted nothing to do with what was going on over there. They're like, no, we didn't hear nothing. Stay away. Go to the next house.
Yeah.
Well, look, Mill, that sounds like Bull Yossi got a hold of him then, didn't it?
Where is that newsreel interview? Because I've never seen any newsreel of Seymour Cott.
That's just too absolute.
Yeah.
I would believe him more if he said, well, I didn't see any traffic going on there after midnight, or we went to bed, so we didn't hear nothing, or blah, blah, blah. But for him to sit there and go, there was no traffic after midnight, I don't know if that washes.
One of the neighbours said they heard cars leaving at 2 a.m. Just saying it could have been the Cots saying that anonymously to the papers. But maybe they didn't want to publicly say it because they were scared of the Manson family. Because the loads of them were still at large sitting around outside the court, weren't they? Everyone was scared to say anything.
Right.
Weren't they? Garretson was probably too terrified to say whatever he did see. That doesn't mean he was involved in some kind of villain, but he was just fucking scared of them. Like everyone probably was, because it was shocking, wasn't it? What they'd done.
Ollie, let me tell you about Texas radio and the Big Beat.
Yeah.
Tell you about heartache and the loss of God. Well, that's the thing is that they were going through this whole traumatic experience, and I know. So I just got in a car wreck on Friday night, and one of the things that happened was the cop asked me, he's like, "What color was the car that you had to dodge that left the scene?"
Yeah.
And I said, "It's white. I thought it was a white truck." And this girl that witnessed it, she goes, "Well, I thought it was kind of tan." Who's right? I don't know, man. I was involved in a car wreck, man. Everything flashed and happened so quick that
Yeah.
I don't know what I saw. Okay,
Yeah.
and I know that because it's just happened on Friday.
Yeah.
Shut up, Lola. It's just happened on Friday. So, I mean, anybody that's involved in this and sees these things, like they're not going to be, their recall is going to be affected by the trauma,
That's it, yeah. Imagine what trauma the girls must have gone through seeing Tex do that, even if they didn't do as much. I don't think any of them did as much as they said they did. I think Tex probably was the main stabber of most of the people.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Krenwinkel obviously got heavily involved in the stabbing, didn't she? But what the chat GPT just said to me about Leslie as well, though, the evidence does point, because she originally said in the penalty phase that she did stab Rosemary LaBianca while she was alive.
Sure.
It's only years later she said she was forced to stab the corpse. But the forensic evidence actually does add up to she did stab her while she was alive.
Both things could be true. She might have stabbed her while she was alive, and then Tex made her stab the corpse.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she did have post-mortem wounds on her lower back.
She didn't though. No, she didn't.
Oh, really?
Apparently, it says they weren't post-mortem. They're peri-mortem. That she didn't have post-mortem wounds.
Well, that's another thing. Helter Skelter lies about then. So
and there's a trail of blood as she crawls across the room. She crawled until the lamp cord around her neck went taut, and then there's a final blow to the back of her neck. So it's like they're still stabbing her, and she's still crawling. So they shout, "Tex, Tex," and Tex walks in and goes bang in the back of her neck, and that's what finally incapacitates her. Yeah, horrible.
Ollie, I think Jim Morrison also is another one what they lied and exaggerated about. He had his issues like anybody, but I don't think he was as boorish and drunken as people like to make out the legend to be. He had unprocessed trauma, and living with his dad, the military guy who didn't really, accept him. And, there's a lot to unpack there. We can do a story on that one sometime too. Claimed in another interview, heard shots no earlier than 2 a.m.
Yeah. That's still after 1 a.m., isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've done streams about the sound reports. Yeah, the different times all the sound reports come in. But yeah, gunshots and women screaming and people shouting were being heard all through the night. And people doubt it. People say, the noises could have been coming from anywhere. But why would the police have noted it if it wasn't worth noting? Do you know what I mean? The police must have been able to tell. Yeah.
James, we're being facetious about Jim Morrison. All he knows his dad started the Vietnam War. And Mr. Mojo Rising was not his pro wrestler name. No. As far as I know, Jim Morrison was never a pro wrestler. No. Unless after the whole Paris thing, and he is still alive, and that's what he did. We're just dicking off. It's died 2 years after the same day that Brian Jones, the founder of the Stones, died, both being 27 years old. Yeah. Stephen, what do you think about Brian Jones and Jim Morrison being part of some kind of ritualistic thing there? That would be a good question for you. You probably know more about it than I do. And I know a lot about both of them. So,
not me. We're asking them in the chat.
Yeah, I was asking Stephen. I'm just throwing some stuff out there for them in the chat.
I think Brian Jones was actually more of an accident. I think people were just trying to intimidate him, and they didn't realise how ill he was with asthma, and they accidentally drowned him. I don't think he was deliberately killed.
Well, I mean, the fact that he died on the same day as Jim Morrison, nobody thinks he was deliberately killed either. But there's theories about him being given heroin instead of cocaine, and in the discotheque.
He went to pick up something for his girlfriend, and he assumed it was cocaine because it was white, and he snorted it. And he actually died in the toilets of the fucking club, apparently, and they had to move his body home to the bath. Yeah. Otherwise, the club would lose its license.
That's what I heard.
The club owners admitted it. Yeah.
I like Steven's answer to that question. He says, "I'm not going to talk about Mick." Ooh.
Yeah.
Nah, I would like to do a Jim Morrison one. We have Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, and Kurt Cobain lined up for next year. I wouldn't mind adding Jim Morrison to the list. I love the Doors. I love talking about it. It's a great story. Yeah. And it correlates so well to this. There's so much to do with the Manson thing. Jim was very, very active in Laurel Canyon.
Yeah. Several of the Doors have said that Jim Morrison did meet Charles Manson, and Charles Manson came to the studio where they were recording and stuff like that. Bollocks that as well. They say, he never knew Jim Morrison, but apparently he did. And Jim Morrison undeniably grows a Manson beard and grows his hair out to look like Manson. There's a whole load of Neil Young, Dennis Hopper, and Jim Morrison all appear to suddenly Manson look for some reason. It's weird.
Well, and the thing too about Jim is him and Pamela were kind of they were of the people, and Pam owned that boutique over in Laurel Canyon, and so they probably had a lot of dealings with the girls.
Yeah, and well, have you seen Paul is sharing loads of stuff he's got from the Ed Sanders Files, interviews with Bill Vance, and Bill Vance is talking about how he arranged for the girls to work at strip clubs and all this sort of stuff. So this sort of stuff was being arranged for them much more than we know. You know, everyone that sees it through rose-tinted visions and thinks Charlie loved them and they just lived like a commune. They weren't. They were constantly being pimped out. Yeah.
And all the people that facilitated that and made those connections and dealt with them, they all broke off all contact and pretended like they didn't fucking know him after they got arrested.
Yeah, after Bernard Crowe, basically everything goes downhill for Manson, doesn't it? Yeah. No one wants to know him once he shoots someone. A well-known guy who's a well-loved drug dealer in the area, wasn't he? Lived on the same street as Melvin Cass.
Yeah. So you got to also have to look at in early 1969, the band had come out with music from Big Pink and their self-titled album, and they had that rustic, woodsy look with the beards going on. And there was kind of a conscious backing away from the whole psychedelic thing.
Because Bobby played with Love, didn't he? Apparently Jim Morrison liked Love, so he probably met Bobby as well.
Absolutely. Bobby had a few bands, that was out there playing.
Loads of people knew Bobby, probably. Yeah, he was involved in lots of stuff.
Musicians have a very, very insular scene too, and so even the bands that are opening act levels or whatever, like regional acts and stuff like that, club bands, they interact with quote unquote higher up musicians all the time and stuff like that. So everybody knows everybody in the music scene in a city, especially like that back then. Yeah, they knew each other.
And there's far more recordings of Manson's in the Beach Boy archive. And now Brian Wilson's died. People are trying to buy them. We might be able to actually get them. We might actually hear them one day.
Oh, there's tons.
Professionally recorded in Brian Wilson's studio as well, not just shitty prison recordings into a tape recorder. Yeah.
Right. No, multi-tracks.
Yeah.
For sure. They can be remixed and edited and, presented in a way that isn't like, here's Charlie screaming into a
crazy
cell phone.
Charlie. That's it. Yeah.
Johnny Eccles has a Bobby Bosley story that's on Back Porch Tapes. Nice.
Yeah, I've got to look for that interview with, but he doesn't label the interviews clearly. So if I just type "cot," I probably won't find it. I'll try though. Apparently that's on Back Porch Tapes. The neighbour cop being interviewed by the media.
But yeah, there was this whole backing away from the psychedelic. If you'll notice, people stopped wearing so much floral print and being so outlandish and so acid Casualty style, and kind of started becoming more rustic. Eric Clapton started playing with Delaney and Bonnie and Friends when he left Cream and Blind Faith. Then you've got, the band and just more of a down home. The Beatles, Get Back, Paul McCartney with the beard. It was get back to your roots, get back to where you once belonged. There was this whole movement at that time, so you got to look at it through that lens too. Yeah, the Gerald Agency was huge, man. Who posted that? Linda? Where'd that scroll? No, Look Mill. Yeah, the Gerald Agency played a far larger role than we currently understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and also did the Hollywood cleanup crews get in there before the police? Like people sent from the studios to remove the tapes and shit like that.
How do we know that Charles Manson and Clem weren't the Hollywood cleanup crew for the tape?
Yeah, Reeve Whitson as well. People speculate Reeve Whitson was actually working for the movie studios. He was a private detective hired by the movie studios to monitor what the fuck was going on with all the people working for them.
Mm-hmm.
And people are now speculating it was a honey trap, and the Playboy Mansion is pretty much confirmed to have been some kind of honey trap operation. They were filming people to gather blackmail material.
Yeah, and you pretty much had to do something really outrageous to even get asked to leave the Playboy Mansion. It was almost like anything goes there. The only people I know of that ever got asked to leave, I know Dave Navarro. They kicked him out because he was shooting up in the bathroom and was like getting blood all over the walls when he was trying to find a maid. So they were like, you got to go, man. We can't have that there. But other than that, it was like anything sexual or anything drug wise that people were doing. They video you. It's evidence. It's crazy. Manson was interviewed. What do you mean?
Morrison, Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison.
Luke Mill earlier said that Jim Morrison was interviewed. And I've heard that by the police. He means
By LAPD in
yeah,
regards
yeah,
in relation to
yeah,
Tate LaBianca and the
yeah, yeah,
Mansons. Sure,
yeah.
that checks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I can believe
No,
he was. Yeah, I've not seen any copy of the interview or anything, obviously, but I can believe that. Yeah.
no, Rhonda, that was they were just using it for storage, and it was supposed to become Roman's office, as far as I know. So there was nothing but just random knick-knacky shit up in there.
Yeah.
Playboy Mansion, Sam, was like Operation Midnight Climax on a giant level.
Yeah, but it's like it's hard to believe that. Yeah, they weren't at least researching or taking information from Hugh Hefner, wasn't it?
Hugh Hefner was probably gathering it from everybody else.
That's it. Yeah,
That
Hugh
was-
Hefner was probably actually intentionally gathering it, was he? Or was he just getting paid for it and he just got off on the lifestyle or whatever? Yeah.
I bring you fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian drowned in his pool and Jim was found in his bathtub, but I don't
Yeah.
think
He
don't
didn't die
think-
in the bathtub. They
I
didn't,
don't think he died in the bathtub. And I mean, Pamela's story is just a little too too convenient.
The nightclub owner has since admitted it. They covered it up to protect the license of the club that he died in, but he was already dead in the toilets of a pub when they found him.
Sure.
The club, and they had to move him back. Oh shit!
I've read it.
Makes it zoom in when it sees my cigarette. It thinks I'm doing that.
Yeah, I've read that, and
Yeah.
and Pamela
Yeah.
said that they were just doing some lines of cocaine and heroin, and that Jim didn't feel well, and that he went and laid down in the bathtub, and they had been watching movies, home movies.
Yeah, but no, he was already dead. Yeah, that's
He was
bullshit.
already dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had to move him because there's a really, really long gap between him being found and the police getting called or anyone getting called as well. It's very, very suspicious.
I look like I'm wearing Hefner's robe, James. That's because
Yeah.
it's because I got in a car wreck on Friday and I have been lounging around in pain. I'm sore, but I'll be all right. Yeah, without a source, it's just an unconfirmed rumor. But again, I think I've had to say this before directly to you, is that this is spitballing and we're just comparing evidence here and throwing stuff at the wall, especially in an after show. Like this isn't a prepared thing, you know, we're just kind of going.
And remember as well, famous people, rich people can demand things are struck from the public record. Like look at fucking when Heath Ledger died, Mary Kate Olsen or whichever one of the Olsen sisters it was. She demanded immunity before she fessed up to it, but she had given him sleeping pills that you shouldn't take if you've got pneumonia. And that's what killed him because he had pneumonia and he took these sleeping pills. She got immunity because she's fucking Mary Kate Olsen. She's rich enough. She had big lawyers to come in and do it. So like Cass Elliot could probably spoke to the police and just demanded it was never made public, and that was done.
John Frusciante
Yeah.
from the Red Hot Chili Peppers gave River Phoenix the drugs that killed him that night at the Viper Room. Nothing happens. You know, it's what it is. You know, if it would have been me that gave you drugs, then I would get arrested and go to jail for fucking murder.
Yeah,
That's just how that works.
And look at Whitney Houston. Something fucking crazy. Whitney Houston had been beaten up. They don't address that. There was wounds all over her body, marks all over her body as well. She didn't just fucking fall asleep in that bath, mate. She was fucking held under and beaten. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. And then Clive Davis had a party while her body was still in the room. Her body hadn't even been removed from the room yet above, and they were all
Some
partying.
ritual shit right there.
Yeah.
Frankie says Jean de Brutel. Yeah, Jean de Brutel was also Marianne Faithfull's drug dealer. He was Pam Corson's drug dealer.
Because she's confirmed that as well. She's confirmed the story about Jim had picked up some white powder for his girlfriend, and he looked at it and it was white, but it was China white heroin. So the same thing happened in Pulp Fiction to Uma Thurman.
Absolutely.
She thought it was coke, but it wasn't. It was heroin. Yeah.
And that's why you don't just snort random powders, kids.
That's it. Yeah.
Look, Mill. I'll try to find that. Sam, read Stephen Davis's book on Jim Morrison. It's probably the most up to date that has more than one possibility about what happened and how he died. But it all, in every instance, besides Pam Corson's account, the heroin came from Jean de Brutel.
Yeah, and he was some kind of aristocrat or something, wasn't he? As well, he was like an aristocratic drug dealer, the kind of person that would have hung around the Rolling Stones. That's pretty how you knew Marianne Faithfull in it. Yeah.
Well, it was until he started banging Pam Corson and Marianne Faithfull that Mick Jagger got tired of having him around, and so he was banished, and him and Marianne wound up breaking up because of all this. Really,
you
know, she was just so fucked up all the time, passing out in her soup at like luncheons and. It wasn't a good
I've lost my lighter. That's what I'm doing.
I got it.
I've lost my lighter. It's down there. Bloody side of the sofa somewhere. Can't see it.
It's okay, Linda. It could have been a lot worse. I have full coverage. I didn't even miss any work. It could be good. I'm just a little sore. Shit happens. Yeah.
No.
Vito Polakis goes dancing the night that Godot dies because that's how those people were, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking about that earlier, actually. I spoke to Nicholas briefly earlier, and he was talking about that because what's he called? Dave McGowan says that Godot was Anton LaVey's kid, and he wasn't. He was Vito Polakis' kid, wasn't he? Or whatever. Polakis, is it Polakis? Not Polakis.
Polakis.
Yeah.
Greek.
Yeah, but he was meant to be Lucifer and Lucifer Rising, that baby, but he died,
Correct.
didn't he, before? Yeah.
Yep.
But no, it was not Anton LaVey's kid. It was Vito Polakis' kid. Yeah.
So, Linda says the week Janice died in Hollywood, 8 people died of overdoses. So, he got the hell out of there. But that's the thing about heroin, too, is like if somebody dies from a fucking overdose, all the junkies are like, oh, that's the good shit. Let's go get that.
Yeah.
That just made it more popular. They're like, this shit that killed Janice.
Yeah.
So, that's our source, Sam. It's not just that we're making stuff up and we're like, oh, yeah, Jim Morrison, he really died over here, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's all these other pieces of evidence that if you pick it up from here, pick that up from there, and then you put the whole thing together, it's called circumstantial evidence. There are sources. There's more than one person that have said these things. And then the owner of the club came out, which is news to me, actually. But I knew that Marianne Faithfull had said, John Dave Pertel came over and brought me dope and said that he just gave some to Pam and Jim Morrison died. She knew that before it was even announced because there was like a week between when Jim Morrison died and Bill Siddons coming over and confirming and getting a death certificate and all that stuff and actually reporting it over in America. And then it was just rumors.
Yeah.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, it's weird. And there was a huge gap between him being discovered and the police getting called or the ambulances getting called or anything.
All weekend. He was there for like 2 or 3 days in the tub.
Suggesting they were panicking, that he was dead and didn't know what to do,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Pamela just did more of the dope. She's like, I'm not calling the cops and I'm not flushing this shit. So, I mean, hey,
we got to finish the heroin before we call the cops. Yeah, fuck it up.
Yeah, it's sad. I know what a junkie thinks like.
Yeah.
They discovered heroin at Barker Ranch, according to Desert Shadows. Wow, that's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, because I've not heard of any of the Manson family being heroin addicted, apart from Krenwinkel's sister, but that doesn't necessarily mean Krenwinkel ever did it, does it? Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't mean that they didn't dabble. I mean, I've known plenty of people who are weekend warriors that never, really became full-fledged junkies. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arthur Brown was great, man. The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. That's some good records right there, man. Bring you fire.
Yeah, I've seen a show of his where where they talk in between the songs. They say they could like an evening with because he holidays on the Isle of Wight, so he knows the place.
Awesome.
He lives in a teepee down here when he comes here and that.
Oh, so you went and saw it in person live?
Yeah, and
awesome.
he talked in between because he was put in prison in Russia for performing with his shirt off. That was indecent by Russian standards. Basically, they threw him in prison and shit like that in the 60s. He had a crazy life story. He was telling us. He told us all about it. Yeah,
it's awesome. What a great experience.
His grandparents' house got bombed during World War II as well, and they lived right up in the north of England, so it was like unusual. But yeah, his family's houses got bombed during World War II.
North like Birmingham or north like Liverpool?
Yeah, I think he's more like Liverpool. I think his family were from
I knew he was from the UK.
I can't remember exactly where he's from. But yeah, his family were from the north of England. Where he was describing was somewhere up north, Yeah,
James, if there was heroin at Barker Ranch, it was definitely behind Charlie's back. Yeah, just like the Gerber jar of speed at Spawn. Yeah, they didn't have none of those powders out in front of everybody. They kept those hidden.
Because text describes Charlie having a bag with loads of different coloured pills in it that he'd offered you.
Absolutely. They
had speed pills. They took the pills.
Yeah. They took amphetamine pills, and that was acceptable. But whenever I said the Gerber jar of speed, what I'm talking about is the methamphetamine powder that Sadie and Tex and Linda kept hidden and were snorting. That was the three of them. They weren't sharing that with anybody. It wasn't communal property, and that's why they hid it. And that might have been why they were like, "Oh, don't tell Charlie; he'll get mad." It's like,
who's the one who's
everybody will take it all.
Who's the one who's got all the form for speed dealing as well, isn't it? It's Linda Kasabian. So Linda
Kasabian.
Kasabian probably bought that speed there, and they just couldn't say it at the time because she was meant to be Billy Oce's star innocent witness, weren't she? Yeah. So they were just told not to say that, not to say Linda bought them the speed. Yeah. Yeah, because they did have, apparently they robbed a news van or something, and they did have industrial grade cameras for a long time. The Manson family. A lot of people don't realise that. Yeah.
ABC TV cameras, I thought it was.
But where were they getting the tapes for it from though? That's the other thing, because they would have to have tapes too.
I know where. From the Melcher deal with ABC, they were bringing it out to do the documentary and stuff, and he left cameras and stuff out there for them.
Yeah.
All those cameras and all the video footage that was shot, both by the ABC film crews and by the family themselves, disappeared. They never have found that shit. And they don't want to talk about it because ABC doesn't want to be like, yeah, we were going to do a documentary on the family and all that. Like, they're like, don't talk about it.
And the Hendrickson documentary probably got made to like justify that, weren't it? Yeah, so we were going to film them. But all that footage is taken after the murders, isn't it? All that Hendrickson documentary is taken after it. So
it was taken after the murders, but before the ranch burned down.
Yeah.
So they had a very short window to get that done, and then they torched the fucking place as soon as they were done with it.
Yeah. Like, well, they claim locals torched it because they were sick of tourists coming to look at it or whatever. But yeah, probably not.
Doesn't make any sense. They got rid of it because now it's all Santa Susana Pass and Chatsworth and a national park there. So they went, and like a lot of the same stuff is still there, but the context in which it's presented is completely different. So you can't, there's no real roadmap to any of that. All of the area has been changed so significantly, both there and on CLO Drive, that you're not ever going to be able to go there and be like, oh, let me look at this. Oh, Vincent Bugliosi's full of shit. This isn't right.
Yeah.
We have to look at diagrams and shit. And this is the way it was in 1969 before they burned it down and changed it all. But like I said, Shop Hello Mary's there right now. You can go on Shop Hello Mary right now and order weed that is grown where Spawn Ranch used to be, and smoke the weed from Spawn Ranch. If you're in America, I think this shit.
Well, so the fact that CLO Drive House isn't there anymore. Like, you can't go there and look at where the guest house was and the walkway to the guest house. It's all gone. It's nothing like it was.
The only thing that's the same is the gate. The gate's in the same place.
Yeah, that's it. Literally, yeah. Yeah, they flattened it completely. So there's nothing left of it. So we can't go. All we can rely on is the old footage. And I've never seen footage of anyone walking up the walkway, but I found pictures of it on CLODrive.com.
What did Jeff Franklin say when they redid that? He said, there is not a blade of grass here that was associated with Sharon Tate.
Yeah, anymore. Yeah, that's it.
Nothing.
Yeah, but Deborah Tate wanted it, didn't she? Because she was sick of musicians going up, and because Marilyn Manson and Trent Reznor both went and recorded albums up there and shit, didn't they? Yeah.
Well, Trent bought the house and turned it into a studio.
Yeah.
So, and that's when he brought Marilyn in to redo some Portrait of American Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of cowboy movies were filmed at Spawn too, Bubba. That's right. Is the utility pole outside the gate still there? I think that it is still there as well. The gate's still there in that utility pole. I mean, I would assume they wouldn't have changed that.
Yeah.
It disappeared a few years ago. How the fuck does a utility pole disappear? Wouldn't they have to unhook it?
Yeah.
Didn't the power go out?
Yeah. Oh, have they moved it to another location or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, speed was a biker drug for sure. Still is.
I mean, you try telling a biker not to do whatever he wants to do, I can't believe he didn't allow the bikers to do speed when they were there, yeah.
Well, I think they were their own entity. And then once the bikers came in, wasn't it kind of a chaotic free-for-all? That's when Linda had come and everything had changed. Bernard Crow had been shot. There was that paranoia. So they wanted the bikers there for protection.
I'll have to end this soon because I've got to get up earlier tomorrow. So yeah, I don't want to stay up all night.
I'm sore too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one. Good after show. We kind of branched off. We got into some Jim Morrison stuff, and recent revelations in the Bill Vance interview. I'd like a link to that, Sam, if you've got one. That'd be cool.
Are you in the Poolcast Facebook group? I know he's shared it in there. I don't know if he shared it in my Facebook.
I haven't been on Facebook. I can still get messages, but I might have to get my backup account out. Problems with the stalker. So, but I'll dig it out. If it's in the Facebook group, I'll look it up. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, everybody. This was a great chat. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
I was feeling like shit, so it was good to focus on something else for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I say no one seems to have been really, really cynical about the AI, did they, in the chat anyway? I don't know. But yeah, I found it interesting and thought it was worth talking about.
I think it's great because it removes
Yeah.
the bias. Like, we all have some implicit bias, and we want to seek things out that will prove what it is, what our inclinations already are, or what we already think or feel. And so whenever you do that with the chat GPT and you already know the case so well, you can kind of feed the information in, like you say, and get back a clinical forensical analysis that is free of that bias. So
Yeah.
Thanks,
I think
Linda.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
sneeze
will.
as well. Oh, I've got a cold that makes me sneeze. The paracetamol must be wearing off. I'm going to start sneezing. So yeah, I will add this out. But thanks for coming, everyone. Like I say, and next week it might be George Stimson coming on if that pans out. But if not, I'm not sure what's happening next week. But yeah.
I thought George was this week, but next week works just as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right, y'all.
okay.
Be safe and have a great week.
Yeah. See you later, everyone.
Painted bed, turn it into one of my enemies.